In 2024 at school, Nikolai is suddenly shoved against the wall by Victor, who wants him to erase the message he wrote on the blackboard. Turns out Anastasia dated Nikolai for a week, but cheated on him with Victor, so Nikolai wrote it all to expose her. When he refuses to erase it, Victor starts hitting and dragging him through the hallway. Meanwhile, on the far side of the moon, an alien courier ship suddenly appears. The pilot reached this solar system by mistake and gets fired. While flipping channels on the panel, he accidentally intercepts a signal from Fima, Nikolai's best friend, who is playing video games. The pilot speaks with him, and Fima instantly becomes famous for being the first human to contact aliens. Thanks to this, Earth joins the Star Federation, starting a new era. Technology evolves at an amazing pace and humanity gains access to things like lab-grown organs. Earth also becomes a tourist spot for beings from across the universe. Things turn dark in 2010 when a war breaks out just because someone shoots a person at the Federation border. The Pirate Alliance are the villains, and their leader Glot has psychokinetic powers and the ability to travel in time. Every time the pirates lose a battle, Glot goes back and gives his army enemy tactics, ensuring they win. Earth sends a special unit into the pirate's base. Kira faces Glot in hand-to-hand combat, defeats him but dies in the process. Kira has a daughter named Alice who attends the same school as Nikolai, 100 years in the future. After class, Alice goes to the woods with Werther, her father's robot, to train with a combat hologram. She wears special gloves that let her interact and block simulated pirate attacks. She's clearly skilled and lasts a while in battle, but still gets defeated. Refusing to give up, Alice asks Werther to restart the simulation. She's so focused she doesn't notice her father Igor behind her and accidentally hits his nose. Later at home, Alice treats Igor's wound while he scolds her for not paying more attention in class. He asks about the gloves and Alice says the cadet school sent them, saying they might accept her. Igor instantly disapproves, but Alice insists she wants to join to find her mom. The body was never found, and since pirates use time travel, Alice thinks her mom might be in the past. When Igor says Kira would have sent a message, Alice shows him a tree with a heart carved in it. She had Werther analyze it and found it's 100 years old, so she believes it's a sign. Igor thinks she's imagining things, so a frustrated Alice runs to hide in her room. Werther scans her and sees she's near depression, but she ignores it and asks him to run the recognition software again. Alice hopes to find someone in past photos who looks like her mom, though they've failed many times. Today her attention is on a woman named Margarita, who worked as a teacher in 2024. In the present, Anastasia still films Victor beating Nikolai. The fight moves to the classroom where the physics teacher Margarita interrupts them. Later, Nikolai's mom is called to the principal's office. She takes his electronics and forces him to clean the board. Fima joins him, but since Nikolai used paint, a rag isn't enough. Nikolai breaks into the locked lab and checks the shelves, noticing items falling like pulled by a magnet. Water in one of them vibrates near a photo on the wall. He moves it and finds a secret compartment with a heavy box that makes his nose bleed. When a drop hits it, the box glows. He opens it and finds a glowing sphere that jumps to his palm and enters his body, making him dizzy and convulse. As Fima runs to get the nurse, Nikolai hears a voice. Cosmion has returned to this system. As he stumbles through the halls, more voices say things like, "You'll die soon," and mention Nikolai and Alice. Suddenly the hallway distorts and Nikolai is teleported outside. Still dizzy, he tries to ask for help but is horrified by a strange helmet. Then he crashes into Alice, who thinks she's under attack and throws him down. The pain helps Nikolai see clearly again, and Alice helps him up, apologizing. He asks for an ambulance and says he doesn't have his phone, making Alice suspicious. She checks his clothes and student ID and realizes he's from the past. Alice tells him to look around, and he finally sees the advanced tech as she points out the year. Overwhelmed, Nikolai faints. Meanwhile, at the titanium prison, a pirate named Jolly defeats the guards and reaches Glot's cell. Jolly says he was chosen to lead what's left of the pirate alliance but can't rule while Glot lives. As he prepares to shoot, Glot turns and says Cosmion is coming and could help win the war, so they agree to cooperate. They make a pact by pressing a coin between their hands, which leaves a mark. Jolly fires, but Glot isn't hurt, confirming the pact works. He frees Glot before two guards enter. Glot uses his powers to make one kill the other, then himself. Back with Nikolai, he wakes up at Alice's house and panics when Werther scans him. Alice sends the robot away. Before giving Nikolai a tour of the place, she tells him about many tech advances like flying cars and the end of climate change. When Igor arrives and meets Nikolai, he takes him to his lab to take a sample of his body. They find a particle of exotic matter inside him, which could be Cosmion. Igor becomes alarmed and asks where he found it, saying it should belong to Kira. When Nikolai mentions a teacher's lab, Alice connects it to Margarita and demands an explanation. Igor hands Alice a letter Kira left for her family. It explains that Cosmion was the object that let Glot travel through time, and Kira stole it during the final battle. She traveled to 2014 to hide it and assumed a new identity as Margarita to stay hidden. She often wished she could return to her loved ones, but her duty was to protect Cosmion to save humanity. So she hoped her husband and daughter would forgive her someday for leaving. Alice becomes furious to learn her father lied her whole life and runs off. Igor tries to follow, but Nikolai asks to handle it himself. After they leave, Igor receives a paper letter, rare in the future. It says it must be opened exactly at 10 p.m., so he does. Meanwhile, outside, Nikolai searches for Alice with Werther's help. Werther warns him never to meet his future self or he'll cause a time rift. Werther moves ahead, but Nikolai is suddenly stopped by Jolly and Glot, who force him to kneel. When Werther sees them, Jolly tries to shoot, but the robot dodges and flies off to trigger the invasion alert. All area lights turn red and a strange circle appears in the sky. Jolly prepares to kill Nikolai and extract Cosmion, but Alice attacks him, getting thrown away quickly. She and Jolly start fighting, and thanks to her gauntlets, she defends herself well. Jolly stabs his sword into a tree and Alice grabs the weapon. Glot releases Nikolai to control Alice, and Jolly kicks her to disarm her before punching. Just then Igor arrives and says the authorities are approaching. Nikolai grabs the weapon, but Glot controls him instantly, making him shoot at Igor. As Alice runs desperately to her father, Cosmion suddenly activates inside Nikolai and sends the group to the past. A car almost hits Jolly, who destroys it with his sword. Another car nears Glot, who controls the driver to veer off. Jolly throws his sword at Nikolai, pinning his jacket to a car. Alice frees him quickly and they flee as the car owner confronts Jolly. The man gets kicked and crushed by the door. Jolly starts jumping from car to chase them, corners them, and stabs Alice, only to find she's a hologram created by Werther. Furious, Jolly slices the robot in half, then checks on Glot, who's watching the sky circle. When Jolly becomes too pushy, Glot controls a biker to hit him. The pirate just laughs and sees Nikolai left his jacket with his student ID. Later, Nikolai takes Alice to Fima's apartment since his parents are out. Alice shows the gauntlets to convince him of her story, but he won't let them stay. He has a video game tournament to prep for. So Nikolai brings Alice to his own home, inventing a story for his mom about a lost new girl in town. In his room, he shows Alice a rap song he wrote. He tries to kiss her, but she rejects him. Meanwhile, Jolly stops cars asking how to reach Nikolai's school. A taxi driver thinks he wants a ride and enters the destination into his GPS, asking for payment. Jolly threatens him with a sword and the terrified man flees. Jolly takes the wheel, presses buttons until the car reverses and crashes. Then he grabs the phone and walks, following GPS directions. Soon, the incident is on the news with footage of Jolly from bystanders' phones. Kira sees it and rushes to find her old gear. Next morning, Nikolai takes Alice to school, but they're stopped by Victor and Anastasia, who gets angry seeing her ex with a new girl. As Anastasia yells at Alice, Nikolai sees Kira and runs after her to tell her about Cosmion and her daughter. Suddenly Jolly appears, tossing a guard aside and smashing the turnstile. Anastasia notices Alice's gauntlet glowing and hides with Victor. As Jolly recognizes Kira, the receptionist triggers the fire alarm, and most students flee. Kira starts fighting Jolly using gauntlets, showing she's as amazing as legends say. But Jolly is a skilled opponent, so Alice rushes in to help her mom. After a heartfelt glance, the two women fight together, but he's still too strong. He throws Kira through a door and slams Alice's head into a window. Kira attacks him with the broken door, buying time as Alice leads the other students to safety. Kira keeps fighting and deals enough damage to knock him down and escape. The teens and Kira hide in a classroom, piling desks to block the door. Jolly breaks the window but can't enter, so he starts cutting through the wall with his sword. Kira fights him again and tries to convince him Glot is using him to get Cosmion and will betray him. Nikolai tries to focus to activate Cosmion but keeps losing concentration, so Alice kisses him to help. Cosmion finally powers up and surrounds the group in energy. Kira kicks Jolly through the hole. The group vanishes, leaving their enemy behind. In the future, they appear in a destroyed building. Looking out, they see a post-apocalyptic world. A robot enters and Kira attacks, destroying its mask. It's Werther. He leads them through the building and explains what happened. Glot controlled Fima to go to school instead of joining the tournament, so he never got the alien signal, and Earth never joined the Federation. Glot used Fima's computer to contact the alien, letting the pirates arrive first. This gave them time to build a strong base and enslave humanity as workers. Werther takes them to an apartment where they find Jolly, missing a hand replaced with a metal prosthetic. Jolly says he saved Werther and only wants to talk, offering food. He reveals Glot betrayed him, just like Kira said. So now he seeks revenge. But he can't harm Glot due to their pact. When he mentions Cosmion, Kira attacks him, but he swears he doesn't want it. He only wants freedom. Kira agrees to let him guide them to Glot in exchange for future amnesty. Then Jolly shares the plan. They must stop Glot in the past and have 1 hour to reach the moment Nikolai opened the time rift. Nikolai suggests using his power now, but Jolly explains Glot can trace Cosmion's gravitational waves, so they must wait for a natural opening. At that moment, a pirate robot appears at the window to perform the apartment owner's monthly check. Jolly opens the fridge where he keeps human limbs and swaps his prosthetic for a real hand. He shows it to the robot, which scans it and leaves. Then Jolly shows Kira his weapon collection while Nikolai goes up to the roof with Alice and asks her out once it's all over. She agrees and they kiss until Kira interrupts to discuss the plan. The teens tell her about Igor's death and hope to undo it, but Jolly explains that everything happens after the breach, so they can't save him. Jolly leaves with Kira and Nikolai, while Alice stays behind to protect Fima, Anastasia, and Victor. Fima reasons that if they're here without consequence, it's a trap. Glot needs Jolly to kill pirates who can actually defeat him. Once they're gone, he'll take Cosmion. Alice wants to help, but Fima and Anastasia fear acting recklessly. Victor gives a speech about wanting a better future, grabs a grenade, and they head out. The theory proves true when the trio is surrounded by pirates. Kira and Jolly fight to protect Nikolai. He hides in a bus but is followed and caught. Alice crashes through the window and fights, but is overpowered. Nikolai uses a metal bar and knocks the enemy out. Then Victor throws the grenade and wipes out the attackers. Though the blast collapses a building, Nikolai jumps and saves his friends just in time. The 4 teens return to the past. Anastasia tries to kiss Nikolai for saving her, but he stops her. He tells Fima he must return to the apartment to receive the signal and jumps to the future. Alice hides him while Kira and Jolly keep fighting. Seeing no escape, Jolly pushes Kira into a building and stays as bait. Gravely wounded, he defeats all the pirates before collapsing. Werther bids him farewell. Glot appears to watch him die, and the mark on Jolly's hand fades. In the past, The teens race to the computer, but Glot is already there. He controls Fima to hit Victor, then uses Victor to knock out Anastasia. Meanwhile, in the future, Nikolai and his group reach the apartment and he activates Cosmion, stopping Glot just before he kills Fima. Kira tries to strike, but Glot uses Anastasia to block, forcing Kira to hit her. Then he controls Alice to knock Nikolai down and the breach closes. Nikolai and Alice are trapped with future Glot, who forces Alice to choke him. In the past, Glot attacks the others. When Nikolai dies, Glot recovers Cosmion from his body. Alice tries CPR but fails, until she uses the gauntlet and revives him. In the past, Glot tries to make Kira end herself, but Fima uses a replica Thor hammer and strikes his head. Kira regains control and slashes Glot's throat, causing a scar to appear in the future. Nikolai thinks they've won, but Glot opens another breach to make him watch Kira die. Nikolai pushes future Glot into past Glot, triggering a paradox. The Glots multiply and attack, but the breach collapses and Cosmion fires rays that destroy them. Though it seems over, Cosmion needs a host. It releases a wave damaging the city. Kira charges through the energy to reach it, but Nikolai absorbs it first. Before resetting the timeline, he apologizes to Alice for missing their date. He floats in space under the energy circle and is sent falling back to Earth. Nikolai wakes up in his apartment, sees his friends, and faints. Later, he wakes up in the hospital surrounded by his mom and friends. Fima confirms he received the alien signal, meaning the timeline was corrected. Nikolai reveals he no longer has Cosmion, so he'll never see Alice again. In the future, Alice, Kira, and Werther reunite with Igor in a restored city. Turns out the physical letter Igor received was sent by Nikolai to warn him. The Igor who died was a hologram. The famous tree is planted by Nikolai and his friends, and the heart carved on it is a message for Alice in the future. Hope you liked the video. If you did, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Comment your favorite part below. Well, until next time, goodbye, bye.